Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are here in week 4 of Coalition League's summer split. I'm Random Minion Caster, and we're here with the second half of the Silver Division here. And we've got Glacial Academy facing off against Pendulum Gaming here. Now, both these teams have faced each other before back in week 1, but it's a very different Glacial team. At that point, it was Glacial Omen, and the only player left from Glacial Omen here on Glacial Academy is King Tyrus. And speaking of King Tyrus, on the blue side here, we've got Glacial Academy with King Tyrus in the top lane. E-substitute Kamehame Wave from sister team Glacial Inferno filling in here in the jungle. In the mid lane, SSJ Godfist. In the bot lane, it's going to be Mazir lane as ADC and Bombar Gankins as the support here. On the red side, Pendulum Gaming, top lane, Killer Unicorns, Jungler Timic, mid laner, Yasuo only, ADC ST Snugglebutt, and for support, it's going to be substitute Killer Lil Ninja here playing for them there, replacing Nerf Irrelevant for the night. And we're just going to hop straight into picks and bans here. And for Glacial Academy, they are going to lose a ban here for the use of Kamehame Wave from sister team Glacial Inferno, and so they're only going to have 4 bans. They're going to ban out the Urgot, Wukong, Pantheon, and Mordekaiser. And with the 4 bans here they're choosing, they are going to leave some champions open here, especially that Yasuo for Yasuo only on the side of Pendulum Gaming. That was a champion he blind picked quite frequently in the spring split and has been banned away from him here in the summer split almost every single game. And on the side of Pendulum Gaming, their ban is going to be the Pyke, Nico, Olaf, Set, and Aphelios. And really solid bans from them there, especially that Pyke, which they first banned right away. Bombar Gankins being massive on that champion in game 1 last week, where Glacial Academy played against Hype Esports. So really solid ban there away from Pendulum Gaming. Now, in terms of picks here, Glacial Academy going with a Nocturne right away for Kamehame Wave, and we've not seen Nocturne be terribly successful here in the Coalition League, so we'll have to see if Kamehame Wave can make a change with that. Swain, Galio, Jin, and Ornn here. And one thing to note is that we did just have a patch update here this week, and one of the champions affected is that Ornn, and the change for Ornn there is a bit of a nerf, and basically when he builds items in lane, it will not grant him any changes to his current health or mana. So if he builds that Ruby Crystal, it does not grant him a boost in his existing health, just in his maximum health, and it can affect Ornn's laning phase quite a bit, can weaken that laning phase quite a bit as well. So we'll have to see how that one works out here for King Tyrus. And on Pendulum side, they're going to go with the Nautilus J4 Yasuo, naturally for Yasuo only, Caitlyn, and Cho'Gath. I'm really liking the team composition coming up from Pendulum. Very typical knock-up composition built to enable Yasuo. And Yasuo only, very good Yasuo play with that many knockups, with the Flag and Drag, with the Depth Charge, as well as the Rupture here from Cho'Gath. He should have absolutely no problem getting that last breath off, and that's going to make team fighting very difficult for the side of Glacial Academy into Pendulum's composition here. Glacial Academy's composition a little bit more of a mixed bag. They've got a really solid front line with that Ornn, with that Galio, with that Swain as well, but in terms, and they're gonna have to peel for that Jhin, but Jhin not known to be a tank buster here, so we'll have to be careful. Can get a lot of damage off, especially on that 4th shot, and Pendulum, their lineup here is vulnerable to that. If we do not see Timic go tank Jarvan, he can get popped down as soon as he cataclysms there, so definitely not a bad pick into this composition here from the side of Glacial Academy for the ADC choice. I just have to see how Kamehame Wave is going to slot in here with that Nocturne, because really that is the real question mark here for the team. Very, very strong in solo queue with that Paranoia turning off the lights, but when you're into an organized 5 teams, sometimes it's not as effective with the communications available from the entirety of the team. And with that, we are gonna head right here into Summoner's Rift. Both teams have spawned here, and now in terms of how the laning phase is most likely going to go. That bot lane going to be an interesting area to look at. Killer Lil Ninja does play quite a bit of support, but it's not usually the starting support here for the side of Pendulum Gaming, so could potentially be a vulnerable point which can be exploited here. Last night when we did see Vengeful Reapers playing with the new ADC, it was Heal Slowat paired up with JD Leon 1, and it didn't work too well there. A bit of lack of synergy. We'll have to see if the same problem might happen here. But now Snugglebutt just going to take a bit of damage. Did want to get a bit of a deep ward down. Wants to figure out where Kamehameha Wave is going to start. But we'll take a bit of poke back for it. No major action, just a bit of love tapping going on over there. The mid lane as well, going to be a huge point of contention because Yasuo only a very aggressive player. And now that he is on his signature champion, I'm very excited to see what he can do here on the champion that he named himself after, because it's so rare that teams let it through here. And against another melee champion in that Glacial for SSJ Godfist, that's going to be beneficial for that Yasuo, and Glacial also a magic resistant tank, so not the best matchup for SSJ Godfist there in the mid lane. Top lane likely to just be a bit of a wet noodle fight here, Cho'Gath and Ornn. But we have seen Killer Unicorns on the tank Cho'Gath before. He is going Glacial Augment. Have to see if he goes tank or AP. Either way, he can put out quite a bit of damage, and if he does opt for that tank route, we've seen Maokai's become just absolutely massive and unkillable here. Now the dredge line coming out from Kill Little Ninja. They're going to get some decent poke here onto Bombar Gankins as well. The level 1 here from Pendulum's bot lane, not very terrifying. Yes, there's the dredge line, but the Caitlyn here not really able to follow up quite just yet. But once they hit level 2, could be very different story. But Timmy gonna gank into the mid lane. They blocked the Justice Punch. The flash coming out will be enough. Yes, it will be. In fact, he's gonna be able to get first blood onto Timmy, who went a little too deep there. Really well played from SSJ Godfist. The Justice Punch was stopped, could not quite dodge out with the skill, but that patience with the flash and able to bait Timic in. And that's going to be a really good start here for Glacial Academy, and they are going to need every lead they can get here in the mid game when they run into that Yasuo composition. So really well played from them. Unfortunately, that will give Yasuo only a bit of time in that mid lane, able to push in that wave here. But SSJ Godfist did take the teleport, so won't lose too much here. Will miss some CS, but get most of the experience. And in that mid lane, experience is more important than gold, especially in those early first couple of levels there. And now it's going to be Kamehameha's turn to return the favor on that gank. We see the flash out from Yasuo only, but the fear is going to land. Can they get the kill? Maybe not. Instead, we're going to see the opposite happen here, where SSJ Godfist getting a little too antsy, going to dive a little too deep, and the kill going back over the way of Yasuo only. And that's going to negate a lot of the advantage that Glacial Academy found in that first blood. And now Kamehameha Wave has to be careful. Will instantly get popped there by Timic. Timic able to find himself a kill as well to close that jungle gap that he opened up by dying so early there. It is a little bit of a rough start for both teams, but this does happen sometimes in Silver. And Timic going on a ganking spree here, rotating right away to that top lane, looking for King Tyrus, but King Tyrus able to flash himself to safety. That will be down for the next 5 minutes, and we could potentially see a regank into the top lane there from Timic. Now bot lane, Bombar Gankins, the target here. He is alone. Mazir lane was roaming up. He will take a bit of poke, but returns it quite well. Will not lose out too much there from that trade. And now that Snugglebutt and Killer Lil Ninja are level 3, have access to all their abilities except for the ultimates there. We might be starting to see that dredge line into the trap combination that is very common in that bot lane. Killer Lil Ninja getting taunted up, getting rooted up. We'll have to flash to safety. Timic was waiting in the wings, but he didn't want to walk in there into the middle of 3. But will still be fine as Killer Lil Ninja manages to find his way out of a sticky situation there. Looks like Pendulum is setting up here for the Ocean Drake a little bit, but there is a lot of vision there. They are slowly clearing it up. We'll get the Scuttle, and Killer Lil Ninja gonna clear out that pink ward in the pit as well. Kamehameha Wave is in the area though, so most likely will not be comfortable starting that up for the side of Pendulum Gaming. And now the root coming down onto Snuggle, but you're gonna take a lot of poke. The Ignite coming down as well. Killer Lil Ninja finally arrives, but Kamehameha Wave, as I said, was waiting in the wings there. A flash out from Snuggle, but can he get away? Yes. No, he can't, because a good return flash from Mazur Lane. Able to find the kill there, but he's going to sacrifice his life there. Give that over to kill Lil Ninja. The kill score right now, 2-1 in this trade so far. Timic showing up, not really able to find anything. Might go down here. The Fear Tether comes across, and Kamehameha Wave going to trade his life for the kill as well. It ultimately comes to a 3-for-2. So really, the junglers just dying there just for no real reason, as that kind of balances things out in terms of the kills there. And both teams right now looking very, very feisty, looking a bit thirsty here for kills. The turrets, yeah, definitely doing work for both teams. Picked up 4 kills total out of 8 right now. 50% of the kill credit on both teams in the entire game actually belonging to turrets right now. Just both teams wanting to try and get kills, wanting to accelerate the pace of the game, and I'm not sure who actually that favors in the early bit here, because if the Yasuo is the one getting the kills from these dives, from these aggressive plays, then definitely I think Pendulum comes out ahead, but if not, I think it's still fairly even right now. The bot lane is both ADCs wanting to scalp as fast as they can, but now Kamehameha Wave able to clear things out. The Scuttle Ward did expire there, and he's able to sneak this Dragon here, and is the Ocean Drake, so that's going to be huge for the side of Glacial Academy if they continue extending this laning phase here. And honestly, it actually might benefit them to extend the laning phase. They're the ones with the semi-global ultimate on SSJ Godfist. They're on his Galio, so they want to keep the lanes as isolated as possible, where SSJ Godfist and Kamehameha Wave with the Paranoia, with the heroic entrance, can instantly change fights, can change the numerical advantage here, making sure they always have a numbers advantage. And that will be their win condition here, because they're not likely to actually win out massive team fights in the late game. Yes, they have the Ornhorn. They also have the Demonic Ascension from Bombard Gankins on that Swain as well. The AoE Taunt as well as Heroic Entrance from SSJ Godfist, but Kamehameha Wave not the best team fighter. And when you look over the side of Pendulum Gaming, every single one of those champions excels in team fights here. Now SSJ getting caught out in a rotation, gonna flash his way out. Paranoia coming out onto SSJ Snuggle, and the Fear pushes him backwards. They're gonna be able to find a kill there. It's gonna go to Mazur Lane, and now it's Killer Lil Ninja as well as Timic having to back away from this fight here. That was really, really well played from the side of Glacial Academy. It looked like Kamehameha Wave might have dived out a little bit too far when he went in for that Paranoia for a little bit, but his team able to follow up really, really quickly there, and that is, especially with that Swain and Jin, they can shoot things way, way out of screen there with the Vision of the Empire coming out from Swain, and just Jin, he doesn't quite have the curtain call available yet, but the W there from the Jin able to reach out really far, did manage to snipe out Snuggle, and with that, they do find themselves a bit of a kill lead, but the gold score right now still dead even right now, and a lot of that's just Yasuo only in that mid lane absolutely dominating. In that top side, Killer Unicorns has to be careful, taking a lot of damage here, but Timic has shown up to back up. The Cataclysm comes down, and that will instantly force the flash out of King Tyrus there in the top lane. And Killer Unicorns, despite seeming to lose out the fights right now, is actually ahead quite significantly in CS, looking like he is going to go that AP supportish Cho'Gath with the GLP, with the Glacial Augment there. And even with that, he's still going to be a very, very tanky boy. That's a Cho'Gath. He will skill incredibly well. He's going to have to flash away, though, as Kamehameha shows up from around the corner. But he has Timic, and Yasuo only backing him up there. Will be able to remain safe. And Pendulum not wanting to go in on that. They're very, very aware here of that heroic entrance available for SSJ Godfist. And despite that looking like it might have been a 3v2, it would have quickly become a 3v3 here. Pendulum Gaming just looking like they're laning better here across the various lanes. All their lanes getting themselves a CS advantage. And I did say that for Glacial Academy's composition, they did want isolated lanes, but they do need to make the plays with those isolated lanes here. We have seen Kamehameha Wave taking advantage, looking for ganks with that paranoia. SSJ Godfist needs to start making these moves as well for his team to try and keep them in the lead, because if not, if they just allow the isolated laning phase to go on without taking advantage of those ultimates, it looks like they might actually lose this one out to the side of Pendulum Gaming. And with an infinitely scaling Cho'Gath, with a Caitlyn hyper carry at the end of the game, they will most likely not be able to win out the late game here. And neither team so far really going for the Herald, the neutral objectives there. Generally, it is considered the more valuable early game objective. Unless it was the Ocean Drake vs Drake, which indeed was the case. And that's why we saw the focus there from Glacial Academy. But neither team seems like they want to accelerate the pace of this game. Nobody really wants to take those turrets down too early, because everybody seems to be quite happy with how things are going for now. And so far, for the junglers who usually kick-start a lot of the action here, it's been Kamehameha Wave making the moves here, especially with that paranoia. Timic has been really good with his counter ganks thus far, able to blow a couple of flashes as well. And aside from that, a really aggressive play in the mid lane there, has been content to sort of counter gank and farm things up in the jungle a little bit. And it does look like he is going a bit of damage right off the bat, building that Warriors and Chance on the Skirmisher's Saber instead of the Cinderhulk. So we'll have to see if he can make those plays, get that damage there. And if he does opt for that damage, Jarvan, he can get some really good cataclysms, pop squishy targets like Mazir Lane and Kamehameha Wave right off the bat. But we do see Paranoia going to be used onto Timic here, and a fight breaking out in the bot lane. Snuggle, but finally rotating out. But Bombard Gank is almost already dead. Gonna use the Demonic Ascension. Still has the Ignite ticking down here. But they didn't focus him. The healing's coming through. The Ignite's off. He's going to be able to find a kill here. But it's going to be Kamehameha Wave going down. And SSJ Godfist as well instead. Yasuo only now hunting down Mazir. Will pick up the shutdown. And that's going to be a 3-for-2 trade in favor of Pendulum Gaming. Starting out really chaotic there. A fight breaking out in the mid lane between Yasuo only and SSJ as they both look to join their teams. And SSJ going down basically in that 1v1. Now the Ace in the Hole coming out to put the damage down onto Bombard Gank. It's going to force the back there. And that's going to allow Snugglebot to get some damage onto this mid lane, this bot lane, pardon me, turret here. Might even be able to get a plate of 2. Bombard Gankin's on that Swain there, doing a lot of work in that fight. We did see the Ignite go down really early from Killer Lil Ninja to cut most of the healing there, but they didn't focus him down. And if you don't focus the Swain down in massive team fights like that, if you just leave him unattended and the Demonic Ascension running, he actually does quite a bit of damage and can heal up quite significantly there. So definitely something that they'll have to pay attention to on the side of Pendulum Gaming. And he's managed to pick up a Rod of Ages for himself as well, so we'll be able to skill up really nicely into the next couple of team fights. There's a small window while that Rod of Ages is stacking where it's not quite gold efficient yet, and we'll have to see Pendulum Gaming decide to push and take advantage of that or not, especially since the Mountain Drake is up right now and they seem to have the numbers here in the bot side of the map. And on the top side so far, Killer Unicorns and King Tyrus, both of them did opt to take teleport into this top lane matchup, but they've been really happy to just go at each other. Nobody really using their teleports to get into the other lanes thus far, mostly just getting them back into lane. And King Tyrus, his teleport is up, has the teleport advantage for now. We'll have to see whether he can make a play on that bot side, especially since the Drake right now being focused by Pendulum, and the Herald just went down. Kamehameha Wave able to sneak that one as well, and that's gonna trigger Pendulum to start up that Mountain Drake there. Paranoia coming down. He's running as fast as he can. Will not get there in time. That's gonna be Mountain Drake going down, but he can look for kills here. Killer Lil Ninja might go down. Last Breath coming out, only going to catch Kamehameha Wave, and we are going to see Timic melt there once more. The Demonic Ascension doing work A triple knockup from Yasuo only. No last breath to follow, but the CC is good. They will find Bombard Gankins and Mazir Lane, and they're going to get themselves a massive fight here. That's a 4-for-1 with Drake here for the side of Pendulum Gaming, and things are looking dire for the side of Glacial Academy. King Tyrus did not teleport down to that fight at all, and that's probably the only reason why he's still alive here for his team. The only one to not go down in that fight right now. And this is the concern for Glacial Academy. They don't exactly have the best team fighting composition into that Yasuo, into the Jarvan as well, and allowing Snugglebutt to just free fire with that Caitlyn makes things very, very difficult for them. And they didn't take an exhaust here. Bombard Gankins opting for the Ignite, so they really have no way to stop Yasuo only once he gets a good knockup and can get the last breath down. And in that fight, Yasuo only didn't even get the last breath down on the entire team, just onto Kamehameha Wave, shredding him down right away as well. And that's going to be a massive problem here for Glacial Academy. They're going to have to find a way to get onto Snuggle, but Kamehameha Wave might have to just hold off on using that Paranoia until he can find Snugglebutt there, until he has enough people with him to just instantly pop Yasuo only. And now we do see Timic being chased out by Kamehameha Wave, but you have to be careful because Killer Unicorns, pardon me, and Yasuo only rotating up to back him up for now. And in the bot lane now, we do see Bombard Gankins getting engaged on. He's going to turn the Demonic Ascension right on away, but the Ignite going to cut that healing significantly. The heal from Mazir Lane as well, not going to do a lot. And with the Dredge Line, with the stun, with the traps, we are going to see him get popped immediately there by Snugglebutt. Snugglebutt starting to ramp up quite well here for Pendulum Gaming as well. 4-2 and 6 right now in that bot lane. Has quite a sizable lead here. 1,400 gold lead in that bot lane. That's basically an entire BF Sword advantage for himself. And if we do look at the gold differentials here, it's about 3,000 now in favor of Pendulum Gaming. A lot of that coming in that last Drake fight there for themselves. Killer Unicorns in that isolated top lane, only about 400 gold ahead, despite the CS lead he has of about 20 minions or so there in the jungle. Fairly even. Timic and Kamehameha Wave, very, very balanced here. Timic getting a lot more kills in terms of fights here, but in terms of objectives, Kamehameha Wave way ahead of him there, and he's going to use that Paranoia to just try and stop the mid lane push for now. We see the teleport coming out from King Tyrus, but will be interrupted right away by a Rupture here, and he's going to go for this extended fight. They're actually going for this. We might potentially see a kill here because Feast is available for Killer Unicorns. Rupture comes out. King Tyrus is going to flash that one away to keep himself alive for now. And despite the flash being burnt on King Tyrus multiple times this game, Timic not really looking to take advantage of that flash being unavailable for him, looking for gangs here in the top lane. Now instead we see it's Kamehameha Wave sneaking around, seeing if he's the one who can get a kill, and he's going to drop Herald in that top side. That's instantly going to give away his position here, and Killer Unicorn's going to be able to back away if he so wishes. He's going to flash out, but the Fear Tether is going to land. The Ornhorn coming across, but that's a tanky boy. Killer Unicorns already 2,200 health for himself. Will be able to remain safe for now, but has to be careful of the dive. Timic going to show up now to stop him. And the Cataclysm going to come down on Kamehameha Wave. You can't spell shield. That will get killed immediately. The Feast finally coming down, and it's now King Tyrus looking to trade back. Killer Unicorn's gonna go golden while Timic finishes that one off. It'll be a kill apiece there in the top lane. 1 to Killer Unicorns, 1 to Timic. And finally, Killer Unicorns finding himself on the board here. And with that 400 gold difference in that top lane for Killer Unicorns going to expand up to almost 1,000 here in that one fight. And things are going from bad to worse here for Glacial Academy. The mid lane has a 2,000 gold differential as well. Yasuo only is finding huge gains for himself, and that's why every team has been banning that Yasuo against Yasuo only. finally see the first turret of the game going down here at 20 minutes. We've seen games ending or looking like it might end at the 20-minute mark. So definitely one of the slower paced games we've got here. Kamehameha Wave going to use a short range paranoia, looking to try and find Snuggle, but Timic is psychic, reading his mind, clairvoyant, knowing exactly where to be for that counter gank. Will be there in time. And now the heroic entrance from SSJ Godfist to discourage Pendulum from chasing any further here. Yasuo only going to walk his way down there. And Ace in the hole coming up. SSJ Godfist is going to tank that one up for Kamehameha Wave. It looks like Pendulum going to be in position now to get themselves a Drake here, the Cloud Drake. So cooldown reduction going to be their target for this. And if they stack that up, the 30% cooldown reduction on their team comp is going to be absolutely massive. Yasuo only 55 seconds right now before any cooldown reduction. After that, it is going to be going down to 49 seconds here. So that's basically going to be available for almost any team fight for the side of Pendulum Gaming. And given that's one of their win conditions, given that's one of their biggest ultimates here for these team fights, that's going to be absolutely massive. And Killer Unicorn just running King Kyrus down, using the GLP to continue chaining ruptures and slows onto him. And he is going to land yet another rupture feast right away. And Killer Unicorns has hit that point where he's becoming an absolute monster, and King Tyrus will not be able to handle him in an extended lane, and he's going to look to take down that top lane turret as well. Once that turret goes down, that's going to be a really long lane, and we already saw King Tyrus cannot get away without his flash available. Now Kamehameha Wave going to come in here, going to use that sweeper, and he's going to 1v1 Killer Unicorns, and I'm not sure he's going to be able, he does actually manage to get that. It's going to be a shutdown. 300 gold bounty going his way. Really well played for him, knowing that despite having a much smaller health bar, he could also output a lot of damage here. And now SSJ Godfist going to go golden, stop the depth charge by now, but it doesn't matter. The knockout coming from Yasuo only. They are going to be able to snag the kill there. But Mazir lane and Bombard ganking's firing back in that bot lane, going to find themselves the first turret of the game for the side of Glacial Academy here. But it might be a little bit too little, as all the outer turrets are going to go down for them. The siege in that mid lane with Snuggle, but on that long range cadence, able to safely poke down that turret, and they can dive as well. Killer Lil Ninja starting to get a little tanky, has the Knight's Vow, has a Glacial Shroud as well. Looking like he might build into perhaps a Gargoyle's Stone Plate. We'll have to see what he opts there as he picks up the now Magic Mantle for himself as well. And if you are the side of Glacial Omen right now, you've been sort of on the back foot for most of this game, unable to get any team fights, and now all your outer turrets are down. Well, that is a huge disadvantage gold-wise. That is also an opportunity macro-wise here for themselves. If they can just split up and look to isolate, drag Pendulum Gaming around the map. Don't give them those 4v4s, 5v5s that they want oh so much. And Mazir lane, despite being significantly down gold, is still able to output significant amounts of damage. And right now we do see Pendulum starting up the Baron. There's no vision here for Glacial Academy. They have virtually no wards actually down on the map aside from the little ones here in the bot side. With all their outer turrets down as well and their lanes pushed up, there's just no warning here for them that this is being done. And that's going to be a free Baron take for Pendulum at 24 minutes here. This is going to make things really hard for Glacial Academy. Their short-term goal is simply to survive this Baron push, keep as many turrets up as they can for now. But with that composition Pendulum has, with that very tanky Cho'Gath, with the ability to knock plenty of people up and look for these dives, if any of the squishies get caught isolated, and that's basically everybody except for King Tyrus at this point, Pendulum can just freely dive turrets here. Looks like they are going to go with a 1-3-1 push for Pendulum right now. They know that nobody can really handle Yasuo only in that 1v1 Killer Unicorns as well. So they're just going to send the other three into the mid lane, but we do see the Paranoia coming down. Look at that damage, the Shred coming in. Killer Unicorns getting just absolutely taken down right away. Has no armor at all. So with the CC provided by King Tyrus, Kamehame can just shred him. But they're going to trade a turret there, as Yasuo going to join the rest of his team. And they're going to trade Killer Unicorns for a turret and fall back, potentially looking for that second Cloud Drake for themselves here. And that's going to be even more cooldown reduction. Depth charge coming out onto Kamehame with a beautiful spell shield to negate that there. And that's going to be a major cooldown here for the side of Pendulum. Blown will not have it available for that dragon fight here. It is a fairly short cooldown right now, just over a minute. And it looks like all Pendulum actually opting to back off instead, spend some of that gold they have accrued, and continue increasing that gold difference right now. If we look at that top lane here, we already see two major items completed for Killer Unicorns, and he's already got the Seeker's Arm Guards and the stopwatch component for the Zhonya's Hourglass there, so most of the components available for him. King Tyrus matching him fairly even, has the Infernal Mask as well as the Forge Fire Rapier. But if we look at the other players on his team, not so good for them. Curtain Call coming out, seeing if we can steal the dragon. Will not be able to find it. Yasuo only going to zone out Kamehame Wave on the side, and that's going to be a really quick cloud take here for Pendulum Gaming. They certainly have the damage for it. Timic having the Black Cleaver, Warriors Enchant as well. Two major items really completed for him. And when you look over at Kamehame Wave, he's really only got the one there. Only got his Warriors Enchant on the Chilling Blade there, the Stalker's Blade. And in the mid lane, we're seeing a huge discrepancy. The Zhonya's Hourglass completed for SSJ Godfist, but he's facing a PDIE Yasuo. That's the item spike here, and it looks like he's going to build himself a Death's Dance. Death's Dance did get nerfed this patch, but it doesn't affect melee champions, so Yasuo only going to be more than happy still to pick that Death's Dance up for himself. And with the loss of the Baron, they managed to find that bot lane inner turret. So on that Baron push, they're going to find two inner turrets here. Only that top lane inner turret standing for the side of Glacial Academy. They've already got Killer Unicorn starting to push in on that top side. The rest of his team will be able to join him shortly if they so wish. Paranoia coming out. They're looking for a repeat gank again onto Killer Unicorns. The flash coming out to Killer Unicorns, but there is Killer Lil Ninja as well as Timic there, and they'll instantly pop Kamehame Wave. They will still manage to find Killer Unicorns, but now it's starting to expand as Snugglebot has arrived and Yasuo, and that's the two carries. They will finally shred down King Tyrus, and SSJ gonna pop as well. Mazir showing up, but he came in the wrong way as Snugglebot able to just shred him down. He flashes, but it won't be able to get him out of range, as Snugglebot gonna flash out as well. And that's gonna leave only Bombard Gankins alive to try and defend this. He does not have a stopwatch, does not have an Hourglass, so he will not want to fight this. He gets hit by the Dreadshine, instantly popped there by the side of Pendulum Gaming. More than happy to dive the Zip, got the damage. Like I said, 2 item spike here for Yasuo only. 3 item spike for Snugglebot with that Storm Razor pop. And this is likely to be the beginning of the end here for Glacial Academy, as they finally have their base cracked. The top lane inhibitor down as well. There will be supers pushing there. And Pendulum just playing this one flawlessly right now after that. And after the initial shenanigans, a little bit of a clown fiesta in the beginning with those interesting, shall we say, dives in the mid and bot lane. But since then, Pendulum has played this one clean, methodically just choking out Glacial Academy, not giving them the chance really to come back into the game here. And with the double global ultimates from Glacial Academy, they just played it so well with allowing their team to make sure that they constantly group up together. Only Killer Unicorns really occasionally caught out there. That feast from half health, Kamehame Wave just didn't stand a chance, and Killer Unicorns finally able to get revenge for those paranoias that's been sent his way pretty much all game here. And that's going to make this defense here for the side of Glacial Academy incredibly difficult. They're going to have 4 men to try and defend against 3 lane push here. Killer Unicorns going to continue pushing into that bot lane here. The rest of his team in the mid lane. It's a 4-1 push, but they've got supers up there. So it's effectively a 1-4-1 right now. And with Kamehameha Wave down, who are they going to send to try and stop Killer Unicorns here? King Tyrus has already shown he can't effectively handle that. Bombar actually going to show up into the bot lane, but that might be really bad. The wind wall going to come up, stop the Ornhorn here, and he's going to last breath on to King Tyrus. Get completely popped as the Cataclysm comes down as well. And SSJ Godfist looking like he was a casualty of incidental AoE damage there. Kamehameha Wave with the GA will come back up, but what's he gonna do? Sat in the middle of 5 with a minion wave, and they're just gonna find 3 for 0 in that bot lane. So unfortunate for Kamehameha Wave. As soon as he respawns, he ends up going down here. Another wind wall to try and stop the Curtain's Call. It will stop 1 bullet and 1 bullet only. Killer Little Ninja gonna stand there and take that. He was not expecting the burst damage. Will get shredded there. So a consolation kill going the way of Mazir Lane. And surprisingly, Pendulum opting to just back out here. There was still 10 seconds on King Tyrus's respawn, 15 on Kamehameha Wave, but instead of looking to just push this one in and end it, they're going to fall back, look for that Baron here. They are taking no chances whatsoever. They've got all the inhibitors down. That's going to be double super minions coming in for them. If with the Baron buff as well, they're just going to be impossible for Glacial Academy to take down. With that, they will also be able to spend some of that hard-earned gold there. 2,000 plus gold on Killer Unicorns and Snugglebutt as well. Killer Unicorns with that Gargoyle Stone Plate now with the Zonias will be incredibly hard to take down, and that Gargoyle Stone Plate also going to scale up the damage, I think, from the Feast as well, so will be absolutely deadly for the squishies here. We already saw him chunk Kamehameha from 50 to 0. It looks like they're gonna go for the Cloud Soul as well. They've sent Killer Unicorns to pick this one up here. They really are trying to clean the map out for every last thing before this final push. Does have the teleport, will be able to rejoin his team very quickly here, but surprisingly taking a lot of damage trying to solo this one. And the rest of his team is gonna push in. Killer Little Ninja able to chase out SSJ Godfist in a 1v1, but the rest of the team is gonna show up. Dead Charge coming across, will find him, but he's basically on the steps of a fountain, will be perfectly safe. Instead, it's Kamehameha Wave getting rooted up right away. The Ignite gonna finish him up. The Ornhorn, but it runs into the wind wall, will not be able to find anything, and Bombard gonna go down there as well. SSJ the next one instead, and now it's gonna be King Tyrus is running into the midst of it. He's tanky enough to survive for now. Curtain Call coming out, but the Curtain Call, that one signifies is gonna be the death of his own team and the game. As Pendulum finally closing this one out at 33 minutes here. Could probably have finished this one out about 3 minutes ago, but again, they just wanted to play this one safe, and Glacial Academy just looking like they kind of just rolled over and died there here. The only one making those proactive plays was Kamehameha Wave, constantly looking for picks onto Killer Unicorns, but even then he ends the game 3, 9, and 6, and that's not to say that he inted by any means. That's a Nocturne, so when you're behind, if there's literally no targets for you to jump onto, ending with a really bad death scoreline is extremely common for Nocturnes. But Glacial Academy, I mean, where do we even start for game 2 here? There's just so many places where they had problems right away in picks and bans, in draft. Yes, they had a questionable draft here as well. Right off the bat, they had really tanky front line, and then with that Jhin, but they didn't have favorable matchups. Ornn into Cho'Gath doesn't usually end too well for the Ornn, especially with that recent round of nerfs there. In the mid lane, the Galio into a Yasuo is another extremely rough matchup here for themselves. And granted, Pendulum had the counter, but they left that Yasuo open. They didn't ban it against Yasuo only of all people in that bot lane as well. I mean, into the Nautilus, I'm not really sure I like the Swain pick that much. It was kind of pseudo-tanky. It worked really well when he was 6, but the problem is in the early phase already, they started falling behind a little bit. So if they wanted to do that, they needed to send more jungle attention into the bot lane and pre-6 as well, because once they hit 6 with that Swain, it's going to be fine. But they need a bit of help beforehand. And with that Nocturne, unfortunately, he wants to farm up as fast as he can, hit 6 as well, get his Paranoia available, and that just makes for a very weak laning phase across the board here for Glacial Academy. So certainly in draft they can try and change that up, but in game as well, their mental here, they weren't very proactive. They still had ways to come back in. We discussed a bit about utilizing those global ultimates from the Galio, from the Nocturne, but we didn't really see the heroic entrance being used proactively, mostly just defensively to try and stop engages that had already gone south for their lanes here. So perhaps a bit more coordination out from the side of Glacial Academy, either that or just focus instead on aggressive, strong lanes would be a potentially another alternative. And for the side of Pendulum, they're just looking really solid right now, winning their lanes individually across the board and knowing when to group and just making sure they don't give too many opportunities for Glacial Academy. So they can definitely bring that into game to continue that for themselves as well. And it will really be on Glacial Academy to try and find ways back into the game, because I don't think Pendulum, if they play it out like they did in game 1, will give them the mistakes that they can use to capitalize on and find ways back into the game. And with that, we are going to hit into an intermission break here while we set up for game 2. And hopefully when we come back, Pendulum will be ready to try and turn the tides here and give us a game 3. So see you all in a couple of minutes.